Hey, it's good to see you. Come on in. We have a special episode today in honor of both of our paternal grandfathers and the aftershave that they both wore.
With an homage to the original by Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements.
It's a beautiful morning with the Barbershop Duet.
Hi, I'm Marcus Klinger with Klinger Vocal Studio.
And I'm Sarah Vincent with Sarah Vincent Virtual Pilates.
But on Wednesdays and Saturdays,
we're the Barbershop Duet.
Hey, it's good to see you. Come on in. We've got a cool episode today.
Yes.
And since it's a PAA episode, we have a little mention because we've sort of tried a couple of their other products.
Not
and
just
we thought
shave
we
soap.
would tell you about it. Yes. What's cool about Phoenix Shaving is that they don't just release a shave soap scent. They release a full line. You've got a solid cologne. You've got an aftershave. You've got a
Star Jelly.
And you've got a shampoo puck.
And deodorant.
And a deodorant, natural
bar
deodorant,
soap.
right? And a bar soap. It's the whole thing.
All the things.
Which is very cool. I'm still not sure how he does
So
it.
if there is a scent that you like,
There
are
you
more
can
things.
put it almost
Everywhere.
everywhere. And so we decided to try the shampoo puck.
Yes.
Very cool. My mom brought home a bottle of Pert once, and I wasn't a huge fan of the shampoo plus conditioner. They've made a few advances in the last 25 years in shampoo and conditioning. This is lovely. And we both kind of noticed that with the first ingredient being glycerin, it kind of left our hair nicely
thicker
and conditioned. Yeah. How did it suit you?
It did. I have a little bit more hair, so I kind of had to do a few more. But it lathers really well. It's barely, just kind of like the shave soap. It lathers pretty quickly. And we weren't sure how the scent would kind of stick with us as the day went because it's, behind you instead of in your face or whatever. But you do get whiffs of it. Like if you're...
Yeah, it's not overbearing. It's not like you're wearing an aftershave or anything, but it is sort of nicely on your shoulder.
Right, a little surprise, like, oh yeah, I did use that on my hair. So we're having fun trying the puck effect for the shampoo conditioner.
So yeah, we just got the one, but we just ordered a couple of more. So
We did.
we're going to try them on for size for a few weeks and we'll report back. But so far, it's really fun to have a thick lather in my hair because usually shampoo doesn't give me a thick lather.
And we were excited to not have bottles all over the tub anymore.
Right. Yeah, you just grab this little thing and you're good to go. So we will report back, but so far we're having fun with this. So today we have a very special soap that is based on a classic aftershave. In fact, probably the most classic of aftershaves. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your grandfather?
So I was trying, I know the bottle, but I think I was young enough that I really didn't notice that the bottle represented the smell, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I just always knew that it was on the top shelf in the bathroom. And so I would see it way up there. And my grandpa did sail boats. So it didn't really connect in my mind that the white glass bottle with the little boat on it meant... Yeah, cologne.
Like
I had no idea.
spices.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. What was he like? What did he do?
He was also a pilot. So he was very military.
He's a very cool family.
Yeah,
This guy flew airplanes.
He was very military, in a good way, though. But there was always, when you came in the door, the men took off the hats. There were just things that you did. You greeted everyone. So he was one that was very big on that, like you never slam the car door and stuff. So I really got those lessons from him. He was very quiet, but when he said something, he meant it. It was very well thought through.
Yeah. And a military man.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And your dad, even his son, was an Eagle Scout. I mean, that
carry
family,
through.
it's like, wow.
Yeah, but we made sure to text my dad this morning and confirm that I wasn't crazy, that's what he actually wore.
That he wore Old Spice. And
yours too.
Yeah, my grandfather was the agricultural commissioner for Nevada County, which meant that he dealt with all the sprays and all the bugs and the Department of Weights and Measures.
Right.
And then he retired to Stockton kind of early to take care of my aunt, and he took over Beecher's Nursery. So if anybody ever bought flowers in San Joaquin County, you probably went to Beecher's Nursery. And he took over this 100-year-old ranch house that had never been renovated at all. And they just kind of moved in, and that's where we would go and visit. And he had a very sort of sparse bathroom set up, but on the shelf were two things: his little comb in a little cup, and next to it was a bottle of Old Spice. And I remember a couple of times popping, just because you're a kid, you're curious, you pop the lid and I'd smell it and I'd be, oh, this smells like him.
Right.
I wonder what this is. Like, I wasn't even really sure.
See, and mine was so far on a shelf, I didn't even know what it was. I couldn't even reach it.
So you'll just know that you
He was very tall. I was very not.
Right. Yeah. So Old Spice itself has a beautiful history and a heritage in this country. And we're going to talk a little bit about its history when we meet the soap. William Schultz saw an opportunity. In 1937, he had developed a woman's perfume inspired by the scent of potpourri called Early American Old Spice. The next year, he tweaked the scent, diluted it, and packaged it in a white glass buoy-shaped bottle, and Old Spice Aftershave was born.
Which is funny because it actually started for women's perfume.
Yeah, right? Look at
Who
that.
would've thought?
Everything that we've been saying about perfume. And
Right,
if it
and
has
it was
any particular notes that
all
go a
their
particular
fault.
direction,
This
it
would
all
exist.
started with them. Yes. And we have figured out that somewhere along the line,
Right.
I was watching a video of Ken Surfs, a really cool guy and channel. Go check that out after this if you haven't already. And he did a brief review. This is kind of what got me started on this.
Interesting.
He found an old bottle of Old Spice, the original, and he found a new one by Procter & Gamble. And he compared them.
That's very cool.
And one of them definitely won. And it was not the new one.
Interesting. I wonder what they took out.
Yeah, so this that Phoenix Shaving created is based on the original, they call it the Schulten formula. I don't know if it's
Got
because
it.
it's William Schultz that
Maybe.
started it.
Yeah.
But the one that we are about to experience is based on the original formula that our grandfathers chose and used every day.
Okay.
So since scent brings back the most memories, I hope this is kind of a fun,
a little hug
nostalgic
from our paternal
episode
grandparents.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's open our box.
We have a hard time deciding if we want to get the star jelly or the aftershave.
Yeah.
We're still in a toss-up.
Because
but
I
those warmer
love the feel of
scents-
the cream on my face, but I love the aftershave too.
Okay, I do love the color.
I know.
Ode
Look at
to
this. And then Phoenix Shaving added their own little twist to it. They gave it menthol, which is why it's whole
interesting.
spices, right?
That makes a lot more
I
sense.
know. I'm excited. So
We
this
see where you're
is
going here.
The
Okay.
Star Jelly.
The star jelly aftershave.
Yes, and Douglas mentioned that the scent will be a little bit different in every form in which you smell it.
which
So
we're
maybe
learning we
experience it in a
like.
couple of different forms, right?
Yeah.
And if you do not have a YouTube show and you would like to more diligently pick out your shaving soap purchases, Phoenix offers, I think it's $1.50 or $1.25 for samples of their colognes. And for $10, you can smell 10 of them, put them on, experience them, know which ones you really want to get.
Especially if they have all of those other things that you can get. That's like the purest way to
Right.
smell it. And then it kind of branches off.
So I wish we could do something like that,
Right.
but sadly we like to do an episode on each soap
you get the
separately. And
reactions.
you get our first impression, but yeah, grab a $10 sample pack and just have fun and see which ones you like.
All right, speaking of first impressions, you ready?
I don't know. We've been waiting for this one. Okay. Wow.
So when was the last time you probably smelled the original?
When he was alive.
Okay.
He passed away.
I know I should do the math too. It's
Yeah,
been a
my
while.
two grandfathers both passed away not too far from each other, about 15 years
I think
ago
that's
now.
kind of close to mine too.
Yeah. And he would have had enough of the original formula where he never would have had to buy the Procter
Right.
& Gamble.
Okay.
So like he had a giant
that would be
supply.
the for sure
So
version.
he smelled like this when we buried him, 100%. But I
Yeah.
don't think I have smelled it since. What about you? And did your
No, I
grandfather
don't think
pass?
so either.
Did he ever talk about the war?
Not too much. He he flew. He was a pilot in the
Right.
war.
That's really scary.
And yeah, I think I was so little I didn't even realize to ask him. I do remember having school projects and we would talk about it, but I the best thing that I liked was actually hearing both of my grandparents in the back room over like a Niners game or something
Right.
of them actually relating. They were both in
Two
separate
soldiers
wars,
talking
but
about
they
it.
could, something once you've lived through it, like
Yeah.
it was just something that bonded them on like a different level.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going through a little bookcase with little odds and ends and trinkets and things in a corner of the porch, my grandparents' house. And I found his purple heart.
Oh wow.
It was still in the little box.
Just where it came.
But
yeah.
it was just kind of set there. Not in a huge place of honor.
Right.
But I remember asking him
Right.
about it and the war. And he just smiled and he like touched me and he said, I don't like to talk about it if it's okay.
That's what my grandpa said too.
Yeah. And he was in the Philippines, so I think he saw a lot of action and stuff. So
Yeah.
he kind of became the strong silent type, as I think a lot of our veterans did
Mm-hmm.
in those last years. But you know what I love though? They kept using stuff like this.
They did.
They still had to smell right. They still had to look right. They still had to put
Their
their hat on.
presentation
Right.
was a part of it.
Right. And I mean, the expression men were men comes from when that first wave would come home after war.
Which is interesting because we were just watching a different YouTube on how the Gillette razors were handed
Right.
off to the men at war.
soldiers because they were required, especially the officers, to be clean shaven.
Right.
So that's
all intertwined somehow.
the shaving world all comes from that.
And
somehow.
even now, like when we do our system, it has that military order of setting
Right.
out all of our things.
It does.
Making the
It
lather.
does.
It oddly that ritual.
Yeah, it's funny, but
Fun
yeah.
little facts.
And I love that there's even an homage to the original color.
Yeah, the logo
on Phoenix
on it,
Shaving's label. I love that there's an homage to the boat.
Clearly it means
Phoenix
something to
Shaving's
a
label.
lot of people.
Yeah. And I love, too, that there's menthol in this. That there's a little twist, and then it's going to have a cool sensation. So,
You ready?
yeah, this might be a little emotional. Let's
It's
see
okay.
if you find your grandfather in this.
You
ready?
first? Oh,
You
my
first.
goodness.
I like to
All
watch
right.
your face on soaps like this. Here we go.
Oh, that's funny. It does have the original smell.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I knew the two different ones.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah.
this does for sure. Wow, that puts me in their bathroom immediately.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, here we go. Wow. Wow.
Right? I see their sky blue tile of their bathroom.
Yeah.
And
And
I didn't
yeah.
realize that that's what I was smelling. I thought
Right.
that was like the aroma of the bathroom, I think.
No, this is the
That
Old
was
Spice.
for Grandpa.
And I feel a little bit of the menthol in the nose,
it's
which is
the
nice because
herby,
the
like-
original didn't have that.
Yeah, it's like a different herb leaf kind of smell somewhere.
How fun. Oh, this is just
Maybe
fun.
it's even the menthol that we're smelling a little too.
Yeah. Everything old is new again in some way.
It is.
You know?
And just we have a different appreciation of it now too.
Well, you know, I lived through several waves of the bell-bottom trousers coming back into fashion and things like that. I think there comes a point with things that are so iconic, like Old Spice aftershave was,
Right.
that there comes a little bit of a point where we were watching a story where somebody puts them on and somebody said, "Oh, you smell like," a girl said, "You smell like my dad." So he stopped wearing it.
Oh, funny.
But I feel like now, once the
That would be
generations have
oddly
gone
comforting.
through,
Right.
that a lot of these aftershaves and things like the Sacre Bleu that Phoenix is
Right.
bringing back are to help bring back the memories of these people
where it
that
all
wore those.
started,
All of our
yeah.
old grandpas and uncles and teachers and coaches and all of these guys that came
Right.
back from war and smelled like these things, you know, like what a cool way to remember them, like how exactly
And
how
while
they
you
smelled.
and I'm curious because clearly he couldn't have whatever the original, recipe was, but to recreate something very close.
Right. It's very gentle. I find the
It
menthol
is.
almost like excuse me.
It is. I know. Like my nose was like, what happened?
a little bit.
But it's funny. I really can tell like the natural herbs and the real
Right.
stuff it was
Yes.
made from. Like
Yes.
back in the day, that's what they would have had. And you can
Right.
tell.
And I love that Old Spice is still so recognizable
Mm-hmm.
that I like that this is enough of a little twist where you can still keep it with you.
Right.
But when somebody smells it, they
like
might be
made
discovering it
new.
new.
Right.
With just that little bit of menthol.
And I love that this is an actual ship because there's that oaky wood smell or something
right.
that you really do get. Oh wait, you have this too.
I have that too, and we have to build a lather. Oh my God. Tell you what, why don't you take a smell of the Star Jelly?
All right, you lather. I
Put some
showed,
on
I
your
showed the
face.
camera because it does seem a little darker, and I don't know if that's some of the
does.
other stuff compared to a few of our other
Sometimes I've
Phoenix.
heard vanilla does that and stuff, but I don't think that's in this. There's another great video that Douglas put up about how to dry bloom a shave soap.
Yes.
Can be done. And we tried it the other night, and it really did fill our bathroom with the beach smell.
Am I being an idiot? Did you just twist this?
No, oh no.
Yeah, you gotta do a few little pumps, wake her up. Wow, I feel like it's so complex. Like there's clearly whatever Douglas did with all of
right?
the spices. Like only because we've looked at the bay rum and how specific he was. I'm very curious.
Yeah,
What
and
we
before we
have-
look at the scent notes, do
yeah.
you smell any bay in this?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Might be a little.
There's something woodsy, like almost
Yeah.
like cedar chips.
That's not
or
like the character of it, but it might
no,
be
but
in
it's
there.
in there.
You know what's so nice about this is the original formula for me had a warmth.
Yes.
Like when I would smell it on my grandpa, it's like a warmer
sitting in front of
smell.
a fireplace almost.
And then the menthol balances that out and like pulls on that opposite a little bit. So the
really
warm
does.
gets a little warmer, the cold gets a little cooler, and it's a nice balance in there.
Yeah, they almost dance together so much it's really hard to separate them.
Yeah, and it's such an iconic smell. I am having a little trouble with the scent notes. Do you think there's like sandalwood? What are you getting?
I know there's more woods than I remember.
Yeah.
And it's funny, now that it said it was based off of something that was more of a potpourri base, I really kind of
Right.
can smell the dried
Interesting.
spices.
Right.
Like there's something about that being like it's a dried spice.
Right, because it's spices. It's like
It's not smoky, but it's
no,
dry.
No, but a little bit of bay. I think it's
I
right.
think, yeah, something like that. It's
see.
not the bay rum smell, but there's something in there that's cohesive. That's why I was looking at the ship on the logo because
All
it's
right.
something.
Right?
Time to give in.
I give up. I give up. What are the scent notes?
from the website. This is what they say.
Here we go.
Many folks know by now I am a bay rum kind of guy.
See previous episodes.
We just brought that up. Probably going on 15 years. But not many know I was once aware of Old Spice as well. That's right. This was my first aftershave at the tender age of 15. Wow. I don't even know if I knew what it was by then.
You kind of start shaving about then, so you want to put a little something on your face.
Prepare for a mentholated twist on a real classic. Note, soap is lightly mentholated. Which
I'm
smelling it for sure, though.
Wow, this is cool. Okay, so here are the set notes. You ready? It starts with orange.
Oh, funny. Wait.
Yeah, okay.
Look
orange.
down. Look at the phrase below. I can remember many a girl turning around in freshman algebra or history or chemistry to tell me I smelled of their dad.
That's why it was reading this page.
I had to jump ship fast.
That's where I had found this
clearly where he went to
story.
the Bay Room. That's funny.
There you go. So I knew I had read
You
that
did,
somewhere.
yeah,
It was
you
Douglas's
totally
story.
had.
That's funny.
Okay, so anyways.
But that is why I didn't wear my Avon aftershaves, because I smelled like my
what?
dad.
Yeah,
and
funny.
when you go to school, you kind of want your own thing.
Yeah, okay. So scent profile.
Okay, scent
we are
profile.
now
So-
focusing here.
Yeah, sorry. So orange, yeah. But like a mandarin, a gentle.
Or like the dried orange.
Oh, like a dry orange peel, maybe.
You know, like that kind of smell.
And then, of course, number 2, spices.
Spices, clearly.
Just kind of general. We're not going to let you in too far. You got to guess. Okay, let's see.
Aldehydes.
Yep.
Okay, sage and clary sage, not just one.
Ooh, that's cool. Can you smell the sage? That's different than solstice.
Right.
It's a different sage.
It's a different
that was a
sage,
desert
yeah.
sage. This is a different sage.
It's more green to me somehow.
Yeah, right.
Okay, carnation.
Yeah, right.
There is something. I was trying to figure out the sweeter part. Geranium.
Yep.
Heliotrope.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, cinnamon and pimento berry. Wow, we are learning some things.
I don't know what would make you reach for
I
pimento.
feel like I gotta find something, so I know now.
Yeah.
Okay, ambergris,
Yeah.
frankincense, vanilla. There's our cedarwood.
There we go. There's cedarwood.
Musk, benzoine, and tonka.
And a light vanilla.
It's funny because they're all so like kind of close to each other in those little chunks.
Right.
That's what they're all mixed in there with the menthol, and they just blend so well. It's hard to pull them out.
Yeah. And it's beautiful because it's not overly intense, because the original could be a little bit,
Right.
And this is nice. This is just a gentle, welcoming, hey.
But the more I smell it, I totally can smell the OG mix in there with other little layers clearly. But
Right, for sure. Oh, it's nice. This is our first aftershave homage. I think.
Fun.
We have a few coming up. Hotel Cecil and Diver Down and Sacre Bleu. So this will be fun. Our first old school. Now, important question. Are old things new again, as I think they are? When you smell this, now I know this is a modern twist,
Right.
but when you smell this, does your brain go nostalgic, or does it go, hey, that's a modern 2023 dude?
I still go nostalgia, but it could just be because I know it from the past. I'm trying to think if I was somebody that had smelled this the first time.
Gotcha.
And there's something about it that makes me feel like I'm walking into like a retro store.
Right.
Where, they have new clothes on the right and they have old record holders on the left. That crew, I think, would totally dig
Right.
this.
For me, I think it's different enough where I don't think someone smelling this cold would associate it with even the original formula. I think it
Interesting.
has enough of an
the
updating.
menthol and
I think the ingredients are quality enough where once you were told, of course, but I
Right.
think my very first whiff of this would not be to look backwards. My first whiff of this would be, what a cool modern scent.
Right. It's a spicy one. If you're
Yeah.
someone that would like any spice, it would totally jump into that category immediately.
Right. And I find there's this new wave of fragrances that are sort of meant to not be in your face, but to
Right.
more just be around you. And this is a lovely scent intensity for that.
Do we dive a little deeper?
I might have one or two more questions. I like how different it is. If I were to kind of describe it, if you've never used menthol before, it's like salsa, except for your face. So, you know, when you eat salsa, it has a little burn,
Right.
but it goes away. Or like wasabi
keep
has a little
eating.
burn and it goes away. This has a beautiful, not burn, but a beautiful freeze. And then it goes
Interesting.
away.
That's
but
a good way to
sometimes
put it.
some stay with you, it's like different salsas. Some stay with you a little bit longer, some not quite
And
so
this
long.
is supposed to be more of a milder one, not crazy, but just enough to know it's there.
Yeah. You know what I love too about this is the cinnamon. I think that's something that is not often used, but is so iconic in this smell for me.
And it's funny, until I read the flowers on there,
yeah.
I didn't even really notice them. But now that I've read it, I totally smell them.
Right. And it's a beautiful reminder. It's like a time traveling experiment back to the 40s and 50s. What did manly men smell like?
Right.
This. They smelled like this. They smelled like Aquavelva. They smelled like Skin Bracer. Those are the
and
things
they were in
that
their
they smelled
suits
like.
and their.
So there's some kind of wisdom still in these scents. There's a piece of our history locked in these.
And it's interesting too because those are all things that they would have. They're not synthetic things.
Right.
And you can smell the difference. Like when it's something real, you really do notice.
And we've seen
the
a bit of
difference.
Douglas's lab. He's not afraid to distill some
Right.
stuff
And
himself.
that's why I'm like, clearly these are the legit original, like actual things put in here.
I kind of like too that this is what my grandpa wore every day for 45
1
years.
cent. It wasn't like our locker that you could go look in.
Right? He wasn't doing bluegrass
There would be
news
a
one day.
that we had
right?
this many.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of shaving soaps to choose from. But
Mine were simple too.
this was so good that it was every day for 45 years. That's really saying something. And you can't just go down to Walgreens and get this. You
Like
can't
back in the
just go
day.
down to CVS. You kind of have to know a little something if you want to get
your
your own. So head over to their website at phoenixartisanaccoutrements.com. Or even better, do it by way of the link in the description. It's an affiliate link, which lets them know that we sent you, and it gives us back a small percentage of the sale, which we'll probably spend on soap so we can make more episodes. It's at no cost to you, and we would be grateful. Hey, Phoenix Shaving. This is great stuff. I had a lot of fun with this. Number one, it made me reminisce about my grandfather, yeah. But number two, the scent of the menthol and the feel of the menthol was really fun and a really great addition to this scent. And what I like, this is not just like a DNA molecule for molecule clone of that cologne, that aftershave. It's a really, really cool reimagining with new and different ingredients. And I like that because yes, my imagination does go, wow, that's what it is. But it's also like somebody else's really well done version of that. So between those two, there was lots of classic and nostalgic stuff to discover, but there was a lot of new stuff to discover in Cold Spices. So, hey, this is great. I'm kind of excited for the other classic aftershave homages. Thanks, Phoenix. Welcome to Messages. So as long as we're talking a little bit about our grandfathers who wore Old Spice, we'd kind of like to know a little bit about your grandfathers who wore Old Spice and what was their journey of the shaving world. Put it down in the comments. We'll start a little conversation.
Some people have like their original, razors from their grandpas. Or, like, sets.
Yes.
It's cool to know like maybe why you got into wet shaving.
Yeah, and have you smelled Gold Spices? What do you think? Does it smell like the original? Does it smell like the new one? I don't know. I'm just kind of curious about your grandfathers too. Let us know. Yeah, Douglas was the first to suggest that we experience a scent in more than one form, and we're very glad. Look, good friends.
Dancing.
We are very grateful to have these in two different forms because sometimes you just want that classic aftershave feel.
Right.
There are definitely days where I want to smell like peach or the beach, but there's some days where I just want to smell like a dude. Mm-hmm. And I think y'all know what that means. So this is just a great soap to put on when you want to smell like a dude.
I'm excited for you to put this on before we go for a walk because you've been kind of enjoying like different scents to take on a walk.
The beach and the fruitier scents. And this,
but
this
we are
nice.
getting closer to like the fall, winter, and I really feel like this fits that really well.
We have an episode on Floyd coming up. Good cologne in the fall. So stay tuned to Barbershop Duet. We hope to see you at your next appointment next Saturday morning.
And you'll smell better just watching this.